guys, Chrissy Florio here. Welcome back with Flow with Chrissy. I wanted to do a short series on building your immune system. There happens to be a lot of sicknesses going around right now, whether it be the flu, just general colds, or stomach viruses. And although sometimes we can't always hide from the colds, we can be a little bit more proactive in our bodies on a day-to-day basis to help build the strength of our immune system, our lymphatic system, circulatory system, central nervous system, to create that overall unison to make us overall healthier. So I wanted to come on and just kind of give you guys some breath techniques and some yoga poses that will help in aiding in building your immune system. So one of the first things I want to kind of talk about is, as I move my mop of hair out of the way, is one of the things that I learned in my yoga training a while back is to kind of help ignite the lymphatic system. And there is a organ that's kind of placed just behind our chest bone. That's called the thymus. The thymus helps to ignite the T cells in our bodies, warding off bacteria, infection, and just kind of get things circulating through the body. So whenever you are either around a lot of sick people or you're starting to feel not great, you can take your pointer finger and your middle finger and just kind of start to tap lightly in a circular motion around, just underneath your clavicles, right? Just at the top of your chest. And you just start to just tap, 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 tap. And it starts to ignite that thymus. And it just kind of helps break down. It starts to not necessarily break down the mucus, but it starts to rapidly increase the T cells in your body. So this might be something that you enjoy. Again, it's not something that you feel right off the bat, but I do feel a little bit of energy in my own body just from doing that for a few moments. So you can maybe do that from about 30 to 60 seconds, a few times a day, maybe a little bit more if you are experiencing some of those symptoms of not feeling well. The other thing that I like to also teach is the buzzing breath. This does help kind of break down congestion in your body. So if you're finding that you wake up one morning, you're very congested, this breath work might help kind of break it up a little bit. So as we inhale in through the nose, you're just basically going to keep the lips closed, but you're going to do a buzzing sound. And basically that buzzing sound is creating vibration in your body, and it's going to eventually start to hopefully help break down some of that congestion. So again, something that you can do throughout the day when you are feeling a little, those two techniques I find to help work for me. So let's get into some of the Yoga Asanas, some of the postures that can maybe help with that. So when our immune system and our bodily systems are weak, it's because either stress is getting in the way, maybe our bodies are fighting so hard to fight that infection or bacteria within. So a lot of twists are usually pretty good, and also just stress relieving poses. So I'm going to give you a few. It's not going to be in any type of vinyasa style sequence. It's just breaking down some of these poses that you can incorporate into your daily life. Again, if you are starting to feel sick, or be proactive about it. Try to do these daily when you wake up, just to help ignite and build a little bit more immunity in your system. So I have a couple of blocks, and I actually have a strap. These two props are really fantastic to help you if you are a little tight, if you're a beginner, just kind of starting to recognize how your body can move. These props are great. They're also fantastic for my advanced yogis as well, who practice on a daily basis. These can help you go a little bit further into some of the poses as well. So get rid of the cliche that the props are for weak, because that's not true at all. So one of the first things we're going to start in is in a seated position. And for my yogis who have really tight hips, or this feels uncomfortable in their knees, you can take your block on any level, and you can just take it right underneath your tailbone and right underneath the sits bones and sit down on it, okay? What this does is it allows the knees to go a little bit lower than the hips, making it just a little bit more comfortable. I have some people that sometimes sit on 2 blocks. So I want you to just come into any comfortable seat here first. And I just want you to float your eyes closed, because coming to your yoga practice, you have to mentally clear your mind so that your body can really do the talking, right? So as you close your eyes, start to find comfort with the eyes closed. Just taking a few moments with the natural breath. You're just kind of letting the breath flow in and out without any manipulation, without any deep breath. And I want you to take a few moments, and I want you to explore what's going on in your bodies. From the top down, bottom up, doesn't really matter. I just want you to recognize maybe where you're feeling a little bit more sensation in your body, whether it's good or bad, whether you're feeling an injury is kind of spiking, whether you're just feeling sore, or mentally you're feeling full and clogged. And so we're not labeling those areas, it's just bringing attention and awareness into those areas. So as you close your eyes, again, sit through. We're not looking to bring negative energy in, we're just building awareness. So if you ever find, before we start to move, if you ever find that you are in a place of where this really hurts, we never want to come to that space. I think I spoke about that in one of my other videos. You never want to experience pain in anything that you're doing. If you're experiencing true pain, back off. Maybe the pose isn't right for your body, or maybe you do need some modifications, and we can talk about that. So recognizing if it's pain or just simply discomfort. So we're gonna all inhale in through the nose, filling up the bodies, keeping the lips to touch though. Maybe pressing the tongue up to the roof of the mouth. Inhale, fill up. Notice how the belly starts to expand, the lungs, the heart. It's a three-part breath. And hold it at the top of that inhalation. Really allow that fresh oxygen to circulate throughout the body. And then when you're ready for your exhale, exhale through the nose. And just recognize if initially your breath isn't balanced out, maybe your inhale's a little longer than the exhale or vice versa. And eventually, as we start to practice, the breath will hopefully balance out, and your inhales and your exhales will be a little bit more balanced. And you'll notice as you start to come into this breath, the inhaling and exhaling out through the nose, we start to create this ocean-like sound. This is what we call our Ujjayi pranayama. This is a beautiful breath work that allows you really to become present, right? And when we are fully stressed, we're thinking about what we have to do in the future. We're thinking about what happened in the past. But when you can stop, pause, close your eyes, focus inward a little bit more, we let go of that stress for that present moment. So Ujjayi pranayama is one of my favorites. I find myself doing it throughout the day. Okay, so you're gonna normally wanna do maybe 5 to 10 rounds of breath of that to help kind of settle your mind and really tap into your body. Once you're done with that, we're gonna inhale, just reach the arms overhead. And as we exhale, draw the hands into your heart center. And pause there for a moment. Really allow the thumbs to press into the heart center, maybe a slight bowing of the head. And maybe you wanna set an intention here. Your intention could just be a simple mantra, a special word, something that you're looking to connect with. It could also be something that not only for your yoga practice, but maybe something that you're looking to seek or gain throughout the day. Just try to make sure that it's not a materialistic gain. We want something to better ourselves, to allow ourselves to grow internally, and allow us to come back to that higher self, right? But really to connect with your true self. So once you set your intention, come back to it throughout the practice, even come back to it throughout the day as well, okay? So we're gonna add a little side body stretch here. Once again, inhale, reach the arms up. On the exhale, lower your right fingertips down towards the floor and reach up and over to the right. When you do this, I want you to feel the rooting down of that left sits bone. Maybe keep your gaze forward or down, or if it feels all right in the neck and the shoulders, reach the gaze up past that left shoulder. And then bend at the elbow, let the head fall back into that hand. And just with the extra weight of the head, we just feel a little bit more sensation through that left side body and into that left shoulder. And then inhale, reach both arms back up towards the sky. We're gonna add our first little twist here. You're gonna take your left hand to the right knee and your right hand to the base of the tailbone. Now you can put it under your back pocket, you can touch it down towards the floor, or if you're sitting on the block, you can sit up to the block. But I want you to inhale from the tailbone all the way up through the crown of the head, and then feel a slight twisting from the rib cage, okay? It's not from the belly button or the hips, it's more so from the rib cage, so that you know that you're taking a nice and healthy twist for the body. So as you look down past that right shoulder, keep breathing, inhaling from the tailbone all the way up through the crown of the head. Maybe the exhale allows you to twist a little bit deeper, but keep the belly engaged so we're keeping this low part of our core neutralized. And then inhale, slowly start to unwind and take a nice little counter twist. Take those hands over to the left and just gently bow down. And then inhale, reach both arms back up towards the sky. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale again, reaching the arms out and up. This time we're going to take our left fingertips down towards the floor, reach up and over to the left side. Breathing through the right side body, maybe take the gaze up, but again, only if it feels okay in your neck. So a nice long side body stretch here, keep rooting down through that right sits bone, and then take the hand, your right hand, and just let the head fall back into it. Kind of pausing for a moment, breathing, recognizing how this side of the body feels as opposed to the opposite. And then again, inhale, both arms reach up. This time you're going to take your right hand to the left knee and the left hand to the base of the tailbone, block or floor. Sit up nice and tall. Inhale all the way through the crown of the head. Exhale, look down past that left shoulder. When we twist, we are in a sense wringing out our spine, and our spine holds a lot of that tension and stress and lots of other things as well. The toxins stay in our spine. And so when we start to unwind, like I want you to do right now, take that counter twist and kind of let the spine naturally unwind and all that fresh blood and oxygen come there. Inhale, both arms reach back out up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Good. Now, sometimes pausing for a moment and just kind of recognizing how just those few poses make you feel now. You should start to feel a little bit more open, a little bit more loose, and a little bit better, okay? So we're gonna move the block off to the side. I'm gonna set off to the side. Let's throw my yoga bun up, okay? And we're gonna come onto all fours, okay? So as we come into our all fours position, it's tabletop, okay? I find a lot of times in tabletop, people will sink into the shoulders, they'll let the belly drop down, they'll feel the tailbone, this is where they're at. I want you to make it a little bit more active, really telling the body, signaling the body that it's time to work. So spread the fingertips wide, start to, as you root down through those palms, you start to feel this activation of the upper body. And then continue that through the spine by drawing the navel to spine, and it neutralizes that low back, okay? So our tailbone is kind of reaching back towards the back of the room. Now from here, we're gonna move through 3 cat and cows. On the in-breath, let the belly start to draw down. You feel the tailbone as it lifts. The gaze may float up towards the sky if it feels okay in your neck, but you really feel the belly draw down. You feel that sensation through the low back. Then exhale, press the hip bones forward, start to round through the spine, chin towards the chest. And again, inhale, let the belly draw down, feel the flexion of the spine. Exhale and feel the arching happening and pressing the hips slightly forward, really rooting down through those palms. One more, moving with your breath. Inhale, find your cow spine. The exhale, find your cat. Inhale, come back to neutral spine. Take the toes to touch and just find a child's pose. So sinking the hips back towards those heels, either walking those fingertips all the way to the top of the mat, maybe the palms spread down, maybe you tripod them, making it a little bit more active, or you can come into a restorative child's pose with taking the knees right under the chest, and you can let the hands fall down by your sides. This gives the shoulders, the arms a break, makes it just a little bit more restorative, giving your body the time to just chill. This is an amazing pose to find. You'll find that we're going to do it a few times to help counter some of these other poses that we're finding. So feel free to come here anytime you need to. Inhale, let's reach those fingertips back to the top of the mat. Let's lift back up into all fours, preparing for Adho Mukha, downward facing dog. So tuck the toes, lift those hips up and back, and find your first downward facing dog. Now, I'm feeling pretty congested. So down dog to me today doesn't feel the best. So again, you want to recognize where your body's at. If you're feeling too congested, then all of that pressure coming to your head might not be the best. So tabletop might be okay for you. Or I also want to show you coming into down dog with a block. Again, you can take it on any level that works well for you. But as you arrive into your downward facing dog, just kind of let the head fall down, whether it's on your forehead, and then you just kind of take a little bit of pressure and ease off of it. Okay, it does feel a little bit better for me. Again, so you're going to come here for a few breaths. Maybe you bring a little bit of movement in. Maybe stillness feels better. You can pedal the feet. You can wiggle those hips. Completely up to you. Good. And then inhale when you're ready. Lift back up. I'm going to move the block out of the way once again. So lifting into that plank pose. Option to drop the knees down. Just simply lower all the way down to the belly. So releasing the tops of those feet onto the floor. We're going to come into 3 rounds of heart openers, of back bends here. When we find some back bends and we start to lift up, we start to put a little bit of pressure onto our kidneys, which helps kind of detox and flush our kidneys out, which also allows us to not only make ourselves healthier, right, because we're getting rid of the toxins, but it also allows us to step into our central nervous system, kind of making us a little bit happier. It releases those good hormones in our bodies. So our first round, we're just going to come into baby cobra. The hands are going to stay under the shoulders. We're going to roll the shoulders back so they're kind of reaching, the elbows are reaching back towards the back of the room. As we inhale, lift up just into baby cobra, just enough to where you feel your low back muscles lifting the upper back. You're not clenching those glutes. Reach down through the pinky toes to release the glutes and release off of the SI joints. You can maybe even just lift your hands so you can recognize that you're not using your hands for this one, for this variation anyways, and you're just kind of lifting up, strengthening those low back muscles. And exhale, lower yourselves down. That may be a good start for you. Okay, so you can stay there and do that for your 3 rounds. Or you can maybe walk your hands under the shoulders. We're going to use our hands for the second variation a little bit more, but again, I'm rooting down through my pinky toes. I'm releasing my glutes. As I inhale, I'm going to lift up a little bit higher. I can certainly keep my elbows bent if you would like to, or if you can, straighten if you have the flexibility in the upper body to do that. Good, so withdrawing the navel to spine, again, I'm still supporting that low back. I'm elongating my low back in order to find this heart opener. Now maybe I can draw the gaze up, maybe I keep it forward because that doesn't feel right. Exhale, lower yourselves back down. Okay, so I've now shown you 2 variations which are really starting to get my body moving and grooving. All right, the third variation could be Shalabhasana. This is another one that I like to throw out there. So you can certainly take your hands and clasp your hands behind your low back and extend them out. If you don't have that flexibility in the shoulders, this is a great opportunity for your strap. Okay, so you can take your hands out as wide as you can, roll the shoulder blades back, and then inhale when you're ready, lift up. Okay, and then this variation, you can either keep the feet rooted down or maybe lift them up. But you want to feel the internal upper inner thighs rolling in towards the midline. So the knees, the thighs, the feet are all kind of pointing down towards the earth, not out to the sides. As you inhale, maybe you can lift up a little bit higher, and then exhale, lower yourselves down. Taking the hands back under the shoulders, pressing back to the child's pose, which is going to help reset that low back and kind of counter everything that we just did. Taking about 3 breaths here. Again, making your child's pose restorative with the hands by your sides, or you can keep it active with reaching them forward. Inhale, lift back up onto all fours. Let's come into one more downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift those hips up and back, downward facing dog. Now from here, we're just going to simply find our forward fold. So you can walk your feet back to meet your hands or walk your hands up to meet your feet. I'm going to come somewhere in the middle. So soft bend to the knees as we come into our first forward fold. Inhale, lift up, halfway lift. Really lengthen the spine, even if the knees are bent or straight. Exhale and draw the upper body back towards the thighs. Let the crown of the head hang heavy. Again, for my people who are feeling too much congestion, this might not feel good. So just kind of stay in the tabletop or come up to stand. But I want you just to start to pedal the knees a little bit, start to ease your way into the hamstrings and into the low back. But if you find yourself kind of up here, This is not good. We don't want this. This is putting way too much pressure on the low back. So if you have tight hamstrings, tight low back muscles, bend into the knees and just kind of let that upper body drape. Now you can also take your hands to your blocks and lift up halfway lift, and this may be where you stay, and maybe you can bend into the knees, okay? Bend the upper body or bend into the knees. Good. Now inhale, soft bend to the knees. Slowly roll those bodies all the way up. Take your time. Coming up fast sometimes really ignites that heart rate, and it comes up in that high blood pressure, and you might get a little wobbly, a little bit. You might see stars. We don't want that. Inhale, take your time. Reach those arms up overhead. Exhale, swan or bow all the way down. Again, shifting the weight forward into the balls of the feet as opposed to those heels. Inhale, lift up, halfway lift. I want you to take your right hand onto the floor and take your left hand to the base of your tailbone. Now, your hand can also come to a block for my tight hamstring people, okay? No shame in your game, remember? Roll that left shoulder open, draw the gaze up towards the sky. If that only feels good on your neck, you can keep your hand into your back pocket, just kind of feeling a little gentle twist here. Maybe you can extend the arm up. Maybe that's just a little too intense on the shoulders. For me, it's a little too intense today, so I'm going to stay and hang here. Take one more breath here. Inhale. Exhale. Bow back down to that forward fold. Feel the nice release through the low back. Inhale, lift up, halfway lift. Take that block if you need to. Root down through that left hand. Right hand's going to come to the base of the tailbone, and then slowly rotate that right shoulder open. A little gentle twist here, but we're keeping the sacrum leveled out strong. We're just taking a little gentle twist here. Inhale from here. Exhale, lower it back down. Good. Inhale, lift up. Walk your hands back out. Find that downward facing dog once again. Good, and then drop down to the knees and sit up onto those heels. Okay. So again, this isn't a flow. This isn't a vinyasa flow. This is just kind of giving you guys specific poses that are going to help kind of build that immunity. Okay. So now I want to take it down to the floor. So we're going to do some lying down poses. So come down to your sits bones. Okay. So we extend our legs straight out in front of us. A lot of times our glutes wrap right underneath our sits bones, and completely up to you. If you kind of have tailbone injury, stay with that cushioning and allowing the glutes to come underneath the tailbone. But if not, if you kind of want to feel that more grounding sensation, you can move the glutes out from underneath so you really feel the sits bones and tailbone root down into the mat. Okay, and then inhale here at the top and just exhale, slowly lower yourselves all the way down. Okay, making sure that you're in the center of the mat. Reach the arms overhead, feel a full inhale. Remember, breath work releases stress. Exhale, draw those knees into the chest. Gently start to rock it out, just massaging that low back, nice and gently. Good, and then we're gonna take the soles of the feet onto the floor, okay? Now, with the soles of the feet onto the floor, make sure your knees are hip distance. Their knees aren't caving in and they're not coming out to the sides. They're right in alignment with the hips. And your fingertips, if you can, maybe you can walk your heels back to touch the fingertips, or maybe that's not accessible to you, completely fine. But with keeping the gaze up towards the sky, we're going to move into Setu Bandhasana, bridge pose. So as we inhale, root down through the feet, slowly start to articulate the spine to lift the hips up. Keep the gaze reaching up. Don't look from side to side. The chin is slightly tucking towards the chest to keep the spine long. Now, as we boost our hips up, we can kind of stay here. I can take a block right underneath my sacrum at any of the 3 levels for a restorative bridge pose, which is absolutely amazing. Or if you want to kind of use it as more of a strengthener, you can root down through the feet and keep the block away. Okay. Now again, we're going to breathe. This is help flushing a lot of the bad stuff, kind of keeping circulation going from here. So that's for the immune system, but obviously this is a pretty strong pose as well as you root down through the feet. You can also maybe roll underneath the shoulder blade heads and kind of clasp the hands behind the low back and lift the hips up a little bit higher. Inhale from here. Maybe you stay there for about 5 breaths. Exhale, slowly and mindfully lower each vertebrae back down to the mat one at a time. okay? We're gonna come back to that in a moment, but in the meantime, we're gonna add a little hamstring stretch and get into the hips just a little bit. So, extend your left leg long onto the mat. You're gonna take your right leg straight on up towards the sky. Now, listen to your body. If it's a struggle and it's bent here, take a strap, wrap the strap around the ball of the foot, and then extend it out. Even if you're here, that's fine. You're feeling sensation in your hamstrings, where some of us might not feel it until it's here, okay? So everybody is different. So really listen to if you need the strap for the elongation, or if you can take your hands, you can wrap them behind the hamstring, the calf, or you can take an ankle or big toe grasp, okay? Again, everybody's leg straight, no matter which level it's at. Press the heel up towards the ceiling. And then take your left hand and place the left hand right onto that left hip. We want to keep the hips rooted down. Inhale, draw the right leg out to the side. So feeling that stretch as it wraps up through the upper inner thigh. Remembering to breathe, the inhales in through the nose and the exhales through the nose. You can always hang out here as long as you want to. Inhale, come back through center. And we're gonna go ahead and just bend into the knee. We're gonna take another little twist here. So we're taking our right knee and we're crossing it over the body, and we're rolling to the outer part of that left hip. So we don't wanna hang back here too much because it may overstretch the SI joints, but if you can roll to the outer part of that hip, it might do you some good. And then take your right arm, take it out to the side like a T, and then just kind of look down past that shoulder. Again, only if it's okay in the neck and the shoulders. We want to really focus on keeping the shoulders rooted down as opposed to the knee. If the knee doesn't touch, totally fine. I'd rather you have the shoulders rooting down. And taking a few breaths here, once again in this gentle twist. Not only is it going to ring our spine, but we're also massaging our internal organs as well, our digestive system. And then inhale again. You can always stay there however long it feels good to you. Just make sure you balance it out. Really hug that right knee into the chest, flexing both of your feet. Now the right knee can either stay in towards the midline, or you can kind of maybe reach it out to the outer part of that rib cage. Good, and then inhale, extend that right leg straight up towards the sky, and exhale, lower it all the way down. Hugging that left knee up and into the chest. Giving it that little hug. And then again, we're going to take that hamstring stretch with the strap around the ball of the foot. Or again, if you can keep the leg straight, you can wrap around the hamstring, the calf, the ankle, or the big toe. Taking that 2-finger grip hold. What you don't want to experience is trying to grab the leg and you feel you're scrunching up the shoulders, you're bringing more tension to the head, neck, and shoulders just to get the leg. That's not what you want. Grab the strap. You want to bring ease into the bodies. We're not looking to bring more tension and stress in. We're looking to get rid of it, right? Right hand to that right hamstring, or right hip. And then draw that left leg out to the side with keeping those hips rooted down. Your body's going to tell you where it's ready to stop. You'll find that resistance in your body. And at that moment, that's when you're going to stop. You're going to breathe. Maybe the breath will allow you to go a little bit further into the pose, but just let the breath and the body make that happen. Don't feel like you have to go further. You want to enjoy the sensation that your body's providing you, not imagining what you look like. Inhale, come back up through center, bend back into that left knee, and then take that left knee across the body, roll to the outer part of that right hip, and then again, take that left arm out to a T, palm face down. Maybe look down past the fingertips. I love to do this pose in the morning when I'm first I'm still in bed. I will always take a little twist here to kind of help start my body a little bit. Remembering to breathe, take one more breath here, full deep inhale. And exhale. Inhale, come back through center. Remember, we're just doing these kind of faster, I wouldn't say fast, but just so that I can show you the poses, but you stay here as long as your breath will allow. Reach the leg up towards the sky, and then exhale, slowly start to lower it all the way down. Good. Once again, second round of bridge pose. Take the soles of those feet back onto the floor. Knees in alignment with the hips, belly is engaged so that it's rooting down through the low back, gaze up towards the sky. Palms face down. When you're ready, inhale, slowly start to boost those hips up. Again, I can take my block and I can rest it either on the mid, lower, or a highest level. And I place my sacrum, the bony part of that low back, onto the block, and it just makes it a little bit more restorative while the body's doing what it does, but it's not adding that extra strength to it. This is one of those amazing poses. Another variation, which I love too, again, helps with circulation, is that you can keep the palms face down. You can hug the knees into the chest. Okay, so if you're on the block, or you can just extend the legs straight on up. Even if you're not on the block and you're just down. Okay, or if you're in bridge, you can always do this one leg at a time. Okay, but this is really great again for circulation, but I'm going to show you another variation on the wall as well. Okay, just want to kind of give you guys some options. When you're done, you're going to slowly lift the hips, remove that block off, and then slowly start to lower back down. Once again, hug those knees back into the chest, gently rock from side to side. Maybe even allow the head to gently rock from side to side as well. All right. Okay, guys, the last pose I want to show you today is legs up the wall. This is one of my favorites. You can do it before you go to bed. It will help with a good night's sleep. You can, sometimes I like to do it when I'm in Shavasana, when I just feel very tired and I've been on my legs all day. It helps kind of recirculate all of that energy that you put down into your legs all day long. It helps recirculate it. So here's your options. You can scooch your butt bungs all the way to the wall, and you're basically just putting your legs up that wall. Okay, very, very easy. Now, if you find it's a struggle and the knees are fully bent, you can inch your way away from the wall and kind of let your legs straighten a little bit, but don't lock the knees. Just kind of find a soft bend to the knees. If you are overly flexible and you want a little bit more, you can always take the block on any of the levels and you can kind of just rest it just behind the calves. Just behind the calves or just behind the hamstrings. Just never directly on top of those or right behind the kneecaps, okay? And just kind of soften, right? Your legs are extended up, but they're not really truly active. The toes are not grasping. Your legs are really not active. There's a soft bend to the knees. And as you take your palms, you face them up. Just simply allow yourself to sit here. Again, taking a moment to maybe find a meditation in this time. Maybe you focus deeply on the breath. Maybe you come back to your intention. And also another great suggestion is to take a moment and explore what's going on in your body now, and just checking out to compare how different do I feel than I did about 15-20 minutes ago when I first started doing some of these poses. Okay, so again, that's an amazing pose that you can find where maybe you go into it 15-20 breaths, and it really will help calm the body. Again, reducing the stress, relieving that stress in our bodies so that our bodies, when needed, can work in the way that it needs to. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial today, and get out there, try these poses, let me know how you feel. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, and always I'm looking for suggestions. I didn't forget about you guys. I will do your morning sequence and a great night sequence as well, and then we'll start getting into some of our vinyasa flows as well. But I wanted to kind of come on here, especially with all the sicknesses going around, really give you guys some good understanding of how the body works and what you can do to be proactive and hopefully not get sick, all right? So thank you guys so much, and I will see you around. One love, namaste.